What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Amalgam Games Lab. I'm your host, Shannon Haegler, and I'm joined by Keena Johnson.
I had to move my mic.
Oh, no.
Because I'm weird and stupid.
This is the show every week where we talk about games and the gaming industry at large.
And I'll tell you what, Shannon. The gaming industry this week is bloody bonkers.
Oh, God, it's so crazy. So by the
like
time...
E3 has started.
Yeah, tell me about
people
it.
like, oh, let's just announce stuff.
Yeah, so by the time you're listening to this, E3 will be in full swing.
Yes.
It'll be Monday, so yeah, Microsoft and Bethesda will have already done their press conferences by that point, I believe.
Do you know if the public can go to press conferences yet?
I
or is that still invite only?
still think that is a press-only event, but they have brought in the public for other ones in previous years, like a small public
I think
section.
the public can go to EA Play.
Yes, because that's not part of E3. I think they might be able to go to the Microsoft one as well, because that's not technically part of E3 this year either.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, they're doing... Because they're on a different time slot. Square
Yeah.
Enix has taken their time slot, because they've moved out, and they don't have a booth there either.
Microsoft.
Yeah, they're not... as far as I know, they are dedicating all of their space at the E3 press conference to their Mixer servers. And that's it.
Mixer sounds good on paper. Like,
Oh,
it lets
yeah,
you do
yeah.
4K 60 frames. I'm like, that's good.
Yeah, it's really cool, but yeah. So E3 will be in swing. They're already announcing a bunch of stuff. We'll hopefully hit a couple of those, but it being this weird time, we'll probably focus on a little bit sort of nebulous stuff today.
Yeah.
Do a proper E3 breakdown sort of later next week, and the regular time slot, and maybe another one in between, where we kind of go part way. But before we get started here, we'll do some housekeeping. Keena, there's part of housekeeping that you wanted to touch on?
I was going to stream my reactions to this using Kind of Funny, reacting to their reactions. But my computer and my internet doesn't want me to do that. I can't upload and download at the same time, or stream. And it's like, no. So I am going to still do it. I'm going to record my reactions and then publish that later.
Yeah.
So it won't be in a timely fashion, but it will be... It'll be there. You can watch my doofusness, my face at 3 o'clock in the morning going, oh,
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima
That's
looks
fine.
good.
Reactions don't have to be live. I mean, oftentimes they get more... People prefer watching those after the fact when they've actually kind of had their own chance.
If I have any, like, big reactions, like visceral reactions, like a Superman game, just forcing that into existence, but knowing it's not going to happen. That's what I'm doing. But anyway, I'll break that out. Like, I'll clip that out and make it.
Make it like a 3-minute video. Yeah, that might be actually a better way of doing it. Is like maybe if you could record the reactions and then.
But we do like a highlights.
Yeah,
I will post the whole thing because I like
Okay.
that for archival stuff. But
Yeah, cool.
other than that, yeah.
Sweet. And then also make sure to check out the Amalgam Show later on this week, where we talk about other pop culture things we're into and care about. If you do have any questions, please comment below or email us at amalgamshow@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed it, also please leave a like and subscribe. Cool, let's kick it off. We'll start with sort of the stuff we're going to be talking about for the next week and change, which is game announcements. There's two I kind of wanted to touch on because I think they're... One is weird, and the other one is... I'm fascinated by it. So the first one is the one I'm kind of just looking at, fascinated, like, what? Why? Really? Okay. Is Days Gone. It got a release date of the 22nd of February 2019, and I don't know much about the game yet still. It's still, to me, is a fucking mystery.
Even though GameSpot's like playing the death out of it.
It doesn't seem
It seems
to
like one of those games that you need to have a demo for. Like, it's not showing well. So, like, if they were to release, like, at E3, like, and there's a demo available now.
Every time that game has been shown, my reaction has been a shrug. Like, it looks pretty, but for the most part, I'm just like, I don't care. I don't think I care. Like, I can't even bring myself to actually say I don't care about the game.
Because you still live intrigue into, like, why you don't care about it yet.
It's just so nebulous. It's this thing of, like, I don't understand why it exists, for one. I don't understand what they're trying to do with it. And for all intents and purposes, it sounds like it's not quite getting where they need it to be. So the whole thing confuses me, perplexes me in a way that I haven't really been with a video game before. And so every time they push it out there, I watch it and I try to figure out, do I like this game? Do I want to play this game? Or do I hate it? I can't even come to that conclusion because it's so confusing. And to me, a February release date, that just seems so close. Like, I was thinking late next year.
I was thinking that time.
Yeah, like
I would have thought
early. I guess the thing that really wow, is that putting it in February. There used to be an old sort of theory around video games, is that there are a couple of places where you put a game out to die, and that is in the holidays, like in December.
Yeah, after Black Friday.
Yeah, January, because everyone's playing their stuff from Christmas. They don't necessarily want to go pick those up. And February is another one.
Yeah.
Because it's the games that you push out the door to just get some extra dollars on the financials for the end of the year.
Yeah, it was for the end of your quarterly, financial year.
Yeah, your fiscal year in America, which ends in March.
For some places, a lot of places.
For most of America.
Yeah, that's where movies most of the time go to die. That's why Deadpool was put in February. Yeah. That succeeded. Yeah. And they're like, oh, wait, let's put it in June so it'll do better.
Yeah, so because now it's a summer blockbuster. Yeah. But it's an old theory that doesn't hold sway anymore, because it seems that they tend to release when... Games seem to be more fluid now. They tend to release when people think they're ready a little bit more. Yeah. Especially when you've got Sony who, you think about it, they're releasing their big games in March, April, May, which is more akin to trying to start the year off with a bang. Yeah. Like, their financial years start with their big games. Yeah. But they're putting this one in February. Seems like an odd time. I still don't know if I want this game to exist. Yeah. There was part of me that just went, can we just kill it? Can we just shuffle this one off and let it go? Because, partially because of how well Sony's been doing over the last couple of years. I don't want them to have a dud. I kind of want them to be perfect, but they kind of need a dud.
I feel a kind of a dud is Detroit that just came out. It's a polarizing dud, but that's with everything.
But the thing with Detroit is that I think this is the view of most people, is that Detroit is not a dud that people place at the feet of Sony. It's a dud that they place at the feet of David Cage. Yeah. Like, it's Quantic Dream that is the problem there. And not that it's a problem, but it's just because everyone knows what their games are like. Yeah. This isn't the first time he's done this. Like, no one was looking at Detroit, maybe the first time we saw it, but no one was looking at Detroit after the second or third trailer and going like, this is going to be the most amazing, most different experience. There was a hope there that this might be better than the previous ones, but we knew what we were getting.
Yeah, people say, regardless of the opinions of David Cage, people say that it's like a AAA Telltale game. Yeah. And like...
And the polish is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Where there isn't a Telltale game, but... and I think there's room in the industry for that, a AAA Telltale game. But, so there's that. Other than that, like, going back to that, like, January, February time period, that's when Resident Evil 7 came out. And I know that's Capcom, but that was very Sony supported, especially with the VR. Yeah. It was day and date with Xbox One, wasn't it? Or was it?
Yeah, it came out at the same time. Yeah, it's just that the PS4 version had VR support.
And that's the version they pushed.
Yes.
I think of that as like a Sony game. Like, because it was kind of a not co-published, but that kind of mentality of it. Yeah. At least outwardly. So I do think there's like stuff that can be coming out in February. There's a game I'm thinking of, and I cannot think of what it is, that did come out in February recently. Wasn't Horizon, that was
March.
Late March, because early March was... No, it must have been.
It was early March. No, but Horizon was like the 1st of March or something like that.
It was...
Because it was 2 days before Breath of the Wild, which was the 3rd, which was the launch day of the Switch.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Like,
Believe me, I remember these days very well.
Because, the end of March was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah. February has had a couple of really big successes recently. Like, a couple of, like, wasn't Fighters in February?
I think it's just...
Or was it was late January. I think it was Australia Day that it launched.
Yeah, no, I think that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, there have been some successes in February recently, but they're not the big ones. Like, what I'm coming at is, like, there can be successes in January, February, and that's fine, but they tend to be the games sort of like in the B tier of like a good company's producing them, they're a good game, they're solid, they sell better than expected, but they didn't have to sell 1 billion copies to make their money back anyway. So it's just like, oh, it's a bonus that it's done really well.
Yeah.
A studio like Sony Bend, with the money of Sony behind it, and what on the surface appears to be Sony trying to make another Horizon, Uncharted, God of War, one of those, like one of their prestige titles.
Yeah.
Dropping it in February just feels like... It feels weird. I can't put my finger on what it is about that date that just made me go, really? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they should give it just a couple more months to maybe figure out what the fuck it is. Or maybe it's just... Maybe I should go and look more into it and see what it is, because I just haven't seen anything from it. Like, none of the trailers, none of the press conference bits have made me go, oh, cool, that game.
I reckon there either will be hands-on here that at E3 that will help sell it, or there'll be a Paris Games Week trailer.
But the thing is, I've heard reports from other games outlets that have had hands-on game time with it, and they all say the same thing, which is just like, it doesn't do what it sells you on, and there's nothing else in that game that could be the other selling point. Like you look at a game like State of Decay, where
that's what I was about to bring up.
Yeah, it's like a zombie game with all this procedural generated stuff, and like the game itself sells you on this like survival situation against zombies and trying to work through like the worst part of a zombie apocalypse and trying to rebuild and all that kind of stuff. But the game is janky as fuck, so it doesn't really live up to that part that it sells you on.
Yeah.
But because of the procedural generation of it, and because everything is so different and unique to every single player, what it gets you on is these unique stories that you tell, the emergent gameplay within it. And so it doesn't hit its own selling point very well, but it gives you something else to sell it on.
Yeah.
And so Days Gone needs something like that, because I don't think it's hitting its selling point, and no one's telling me there's something else in that game that's like, oh, it's this.
Someone, people that I listen to, they're big State of Decay fans, and they're like, oh, State of Decay 2, it's more State of Decay. And they weren't really into it, like they don't know why they were into it. They played Days Gone, and they were like, this is just a super polished State of Decay game. And take it like either way, but it's looting, it's doing all the stuff, not necessarily like to the hardcoreness of it, but it is like...
I guess I don't know what it is, because like that's been Sony's MO so far. This generation has been like, okay, we're going to make the best possible Uncharted game.
Yeah.
Polish it up, make it look great. We are going to make an open world Far Cry Ubisoft style open world game. We're going to make the best version of that. Polish it up, make it great.
Yeah.
We're going to take a Tomb Raider game and an adventure game, and we're going to make the best version of that. Polish it up, and release it, and make a fucking buttload off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, even with Crash Bandicoot, we're going to take a 3D platformer, polish it up, make it great, and make a buttload off of it.
Yeah.
And if this is, we're going to take the State of Decay formula and polish it up and make it great, it still isn't hitting. It still isn't making that sense. And I think maybe it's just the character. Like, there's been nothing in the trailers that made me go, this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking...
He's Star Killer on a bike.
Like a douchebag.
He's a bike, like, that's the other thing, like, it's ages ago, and I think they're still pushing it, is the biker culture. And, like, that's what hooked me, because I'm like, oh, you don't really get that. It's like, they wanted, like, Sons of Anarchy with zombies.
I mean, if this map is fucking huge...
Which I have a feeling it will be.
And you can, like, cruise the open road on your bike... Because the thing that
actually... That's what, like, they've said you can do.
Yeah.
They've never shown it. Like, we've seen, like, 2 minutes of riding a bike, and like, oh, I've got to get off. Now I'm in the snow.
Yeah.
Scuffle, scuffle, zombies.
Yeah.
Scuffle, scuffle. Like, that's it.
Like, what I want to see from that, like, give me a story trailer rather than... Because every time they've shown it, they've shown gameplay.
They did that once. Remember how they opened with the story trailer and they closed with the gameplay trailer?
Yeah.
Because, like, people feel that's where Red Dead 2 was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, because there was, like, a shooting or something, like... But apparently that never was real.
No.
It was just
rumors. Yeah, it was rumors that Rockstar was there.
But that's why it was, like, a weird... In any case, like... But yeah, they did the story one to begin with.
But the story one never gave me, like, anything... Like, give me the story trailer.
It was it was more of a thematic trailer.
Yes. Give me a story trailer. Tell me what the fuck is going on in this world. But also, just in that story trailer, just give me a time lapse of the dude, like, traveling different things. Yeah. Just give me the sense that I'm actually going to be doing this open, expansive world.
Yeah.
Like, if it's as big as, like, the US country, then holy shit.
It's set in the northwest of America, which that's Seattle area.
Yeah.
So that's the area they want to go to and, like, lean into.
Because I just want to have more... Because the other thing was that one of the original pitches for this game was that you were going to have... They were essentially going to treat the zombie hordes, because their big selling point is how many zombies that come attack you. And one of the original pitches I saw in the early days was that, like, they were going to treat the zombie hordes like a weather effect. Where you would be riding along or walking along, and suddenly, just out of nowhere, like a rainstorm, zombies would start popping up. And you'd be like, oh, fuck. Do you deal with it, or do you run? And most of the time you're going to have to run because there's just too many to take out. You have to figure out a smart way of getting out of it.
Kind of like the superstorms in Mad Max.
Yeah, something like that.
I like that idea.
Yeah, and like the thing was though is that they seem to have tailored that back a bit from what I hear. And yeah, and like if that was the selling point of like this is a world where you can explore and you can do all this stuff, but at any moment you can just fucking get overrun. Then okay, all right, I'm interested in that. Mm-hmm. Show me that there's a tool set that I can get out of it.
Yeah.
Or sell me on the fact that... Because this is the other end of the spectrum of, like, if you're going to make this game about that, then I want to be scared of them. I want... If I see any of them, I want to be like, fuck. Like, get me out of here.
I feel that'll be the case at the start of the game, but, like, by the end of the game, you will have so much power over them. You'll be able
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Just based on what it is, because it's very realistic. Like, it's not like a Dead Rising thing where you're putting chainsaws in front of... So I don't know... Given what I've seen of the zombies in action with the mechanics and with the weapons and all the stuff that you have in that world, I don't foresee any kind of abilities or technology or anything that they can give you that would then make you a one-man zombie-killing army. Because everything, like, they were showing assault rifles, like, firing off, and they were, like, hitting the zombies, and, like, it would kill one, or maybe it would just injure one. But what is, like, unless they give you a fucking tank...
Yeah,
like,
that's true. The other aspect of this game is that the zombies, you can manipulate them to kill your enemies.
Yeah, you treat them like a horde, or like...
Like water.
Yeah,
it's like a puzzle piece. You just, like, boom, boom, zombies kill them, they go away, you, like, stealth behind them. And
and that'll be cool. Like, give me more of that. Because that was the other thing, is that I keep hearing about all these sort of cool ideas and mechanics, and then none of them are in the trailers. Like, the first one just shows you getting mobbed by them. It doesn't show you getting, like, using them in any way. And the second one, you're just avoiding them.
Yeah.
And again, they just come up and you avoid them, and then that's it. You don't use them. Show me a trailer where he sees a horde of zombies and, like, forces them to go one direction and uses them to take out an outpost. That would be cool.
Yeah.
And that's also, like, a really cool idea for a story, because, like, what does that say about the nature of this character? That in this world they would use the zombies for their own purposes. Is using a zombie to kill someone as bad as using a gun to kill someone? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sicking the most horrendous death that we have on this world on your enemies. Like, what does that say about a person? And that's an interesting tack to take. None of this has been said by Sony in any way.
Yeah. And, like, I think all this can come through. Like, I trust Ben enough. And, like, there's enough, like, weird foundations that aren't, like, actually holding the thing up, but there's enough there that you can... They just need a good presentation for it, and they just haven't got it. And I don't know why. Maybe the marketing team behind it not doing their job properly?
Yeah,
but maybe,
I don't know.
There's a piece missing, and for it to finally click... I think this game can click. But...
Yeah, it's the weirdest fucking thing, because I've never seen a game like this where it just doesn't show well. Like,
well, there's been a few games. Like, they're usually like peripheral games, like VR and stuff. And like, but I guess it's of this caliber.
Yeah,
like,
it's like the high profile. Like where like every time you see it, you're like, no. Like usually a game this big, like I'm thinking about like one that kind of went I'm thinking more like Also, it's Scalebound, I guess.
Scalebound, yeah, that was also a weird one.
When that first launched, it was like when that trailer dropped, the first one, I was like, okay, the dumb beats audio aside, that looks cool. And then it showed, and I was like, that looks less cool, and then less cool. But, like, its initial trailer was fascinating, interesting, and gave me something to look forward to. Literally from start to finish, this whole thing has been nothing.
Yeah.
And with Scalebound, once the reaction was like, maybe, Microsoft turned around and was like, we're fucking killing this thing.
I don't think that was, like, external reaction. I think that was all internal reactions. It's the reason they killed it, because, like, it just wasn't clicking, it just wasn't a property.
I don't get that why that happened, because I thought that looked rad, all of it. But I definitely saw the general sentiment around the internet being, like, a little bit like, looks good, looks fine.
Yeah.
It was that trailer where they showed the actual combat and there was, like, numbers flying off things. People were like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, they should have turned that off.
Yeah.
But like Nier does the same thing. That's an action game, but it's also got RPG elements.
Yeah.
Which is every game.
Which all games are role-playing games at this point. But yeah, like, I've just never seen a AAA title this big with this higher profile where every single reaction to it is a shrug. It's just not... Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a what?
I'm on board with this game. Like, I'm not like, not a day one purchase, but I am like, I want to know more. I want the click.
I hope
it's not happening, and I like. But I'm optimistic about this game. You are like, not even pessimistic, not even realistic. You're just like.
Yeah, I just want to know what. Like, I hope the reviews come out and tell me what I need to know about this game.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I don't foresee anything they show me between now and the release of the game actually explaining to me what the hell's going on. Like, I just don't see it from Sony. So, I guess I'm going to have to wait for the release and the reviews, and if the reviews say it's great, then I'll pick that thing up. Yeah. Like, I got no problem with it.
Yeah.
I just hope it does.
If they do the thing that they did with God of War and the embargo's a week early, then it's great.
I hope so.
And I don't think that's going to be the case. They'll probably Detroit it in like the day or so before.
Yeah.
Which is how most games go.
I mean,
but,
Bethesda
is a really exceptional case.
Bethesda did that thing have been doing that thing a lot lately with their games where the embargo is the day before the game comes out. The review code goes out to reviewers the day before the game comes out.
Because they don't want... Like,
and that is usually the death knell.
That's a weird Bethesda thing.
Yeah, but that used to be the old school, like, oh, this game's bad, we're going to give it to them the day before. But the first game they did it with was Doom. And everyone was like, oh, is this game going to be bad? And they played it, was like, excellent. So, I'm not putting much stock in that. I actually want to see the reviews.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes.
It was a weird game to do that with, because, just... Doom was, it could go either way, and then it just started. It was Game of the Year material.
Yeah.
You could have been your Game of the Year, like as in individuals, but yeah,
it was pretty close to mine. Actually, that year, the Game of the Year that I enjoyed the most is actually what I'll talk about next. Hitman 2 has been announced.
It came out 20 years ago. It's a good game. No, probably 15 years ago, but yeah.
No, IO found a way to... It was really weird how this one happened, was because the Warner Brothers website went live with a logo. I think it was Warner Brothers, because they've decided...
There was like a weird streamy thing, a video just like, we'll be back tomorrow with a new game announcement. Everyone's like, it's a Superman game! They're like, no, we've got leaks about Hitman. It's gonna be that.
Well, the thing is, it went live with a... Like, there was a logo, Hitman 2, the logo for it, was up on the website, and then it immediately got taken down.
Yeah.
And was like, oh shit, they weren't supposed to announce that. Then they just went around and did it anyway.
Yeah.
Which is the way most publishers are working nowadays, that if something leaks, they just immediately turn around and announce it, because they're like, fuck it, we're just not going to bother anymore.
Yeah.
The thing that I found really interesting about it is, one, it is not Hitman Season 2, it is Hitman 2.
It's going to be a self-contained game.
Yeah, which I think is fascinating, because from what I can tell... The season episodic style of release worked well for them. It didn't work well enough for Square Enix to give a shit, but then again, nothing ever does.
No. Tomb Raider should have sold 10 million copies.
Yeah, fucking god. Rise of the Tomb Raider should have sold 10 million copies, and it launched the same day as Fallout 4. Do that,
That's why I have no trust in Square Enix. That's why I am almost confident that they will release Kingdom Hearts 3 on Red Dead Redemption 2 Day.
Yeah.
I'm almost confident that they will do that. Like... Just because they do dumb shit. But that is also the West. Well, the East is just as dumb. But yeah, no, it's... Hitman, I've played a little bit with the season content because they keep releasing free stuff. I'm like, yes, I get the second episode for free. This is great. Yeah. For me, those games are way... Like, the first season was way too intense. In terms of, like, it is a puzzle. Like, it is, to the nth degree, a stealth game as a puzzle game.
Yeah.
And while I like that most of the time... The episodes were designed for you to sit down this is your game. And, like, you play this for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And you die and like that. Whereas I played Hitman Absolution, the previous game, and that's just, it's a normal stealth game.
Yeah.
And it's fine, it's, like, not as intense, but, the new season was just a bit too much for me, and I love stealth games. Well, probably also because I wasn't committing myself to it, but I wanted to, but it was just too hard.
Yeah.
This new one, Hitman 2, will hopefully be a bit more absolution-y, while still having the interesting...
I doubt it, because I think they found a lot of success with the old one.
Yeah.
The way this revamped Hitman worked, which is why I think that Ubisoft might steal it for Splinter Cell. Because I think it's a really cool way to do a stealth game, is that there are so many options in that game, and so many different ways to do the same thing. It is what you want from, like, those kind of games is, okay, if I want to just complete the story and get through the missions, I can, by doing it in the way that they plan it to, and there's a set route.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it that is optimal.
Yeah.
And then there's a way to do it where you can just go batshit insane.
Yeah.
There's videos that I watch on YouTube sometimes where what they do is they have, like, 3 hats. And it's like a Cluedo thing, where they have to pick the outfit, the weapon, and...
the area.
I know, because certain ones of them can only be killed in certain areas.
Yeah.
It's like the outfit, the weapon, and I think there's a third thing that they say.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was, but I've seen other ones too where it's just the outfit and the weapon. Where it's like you go into the map and they're like, cool, you have to be the priest, and you have to go in and find a way to kill a priest, steal their clothes, and then you have to somehow figure out a way to be like not hunted in that outfit, and then go and find the weapon that you want to use to kill them, like a spaghetti can or something stupid like that, and then go and find the person and kill them. And it's got that layer of, like, replayability that most games don't have, and I think they're going to keep finding success that way. I would hope that maybe they do tap the brakes a bit on the season thing of, like, releasing content in that style, because that seems to be the turn-off, is like, oh, like, I don't get the game if I purchase the game. I have to continue to get these updates.
I think that's why it's one singular game. But the opposite of that, with it being a seasonal game, is that it was almost always in the conversation of games. It's,
true.
Oh, the new Hitman episode came out. I've heard this is good. Like, the guys at Giant Bomb love this. Like it was always that conversation, and you're like... And
I'm sure they'll keep doing content updates like that. But the way it released originally was that it was fairly bare bones at the start. It was kind of just like they gave you one map, a sandbox open world with like a few different targets, and then the game itself added to it over time. Whereas this, is going to be like a full game in one. And then maybe they add, like, a new hit on each one, like DLC content, like a traditional season pass.
Do you mean more of, like, a Ubisoft-style multiplayer game? Like, it becomes a game of the service, like it's like Siege or...
Maybe? I don't know.
Division.
I don't know. We'll see how this one... I think this will be the tester to whether they go back to the old model or whether they stick with this one instead. I think IO might be looking to figure it out, because they're their own company now. They have
and
to
it's
make
just
their own
Warner
decisions.
Brothers publishing it.
Yeah.
I like that. Warner Brothers is a great publisher. Like they kind of fucked up Shadow of Mordor, but
the thing I like about it as well is that it means, like, well, I mean, it depends. They are hit and miss on the PC port.
Yeah. Which is sad, because that's where their origins are.
The thing that I thought was really interesting...
Or do you mean Warner Brothers, sorry?
Yeah,
Warner Brothers. Okay, I thought you were talking about IO.
No, IO.
Yeah, okay.
They can be hit and miss on the PC ports, because, like, Batman
never worked.
But then Shadow of Mordor has an excellent PC port.
Okay, cool.
It's absolutely amazing. And then there's Batman Arkham City's PC port was really good, but Batman Arkham Knights didn't work at all.
Neither did Origins.
They took it off sale.
That's right, yeah.
And then, they have their Mortal Kombat problems, and, like, they kind of bounce between doing really well and really bad, and, like, Mad Max PC port's not bad either.
Oh, cool.
But the thing thing that's really interesting about Hitman, this is just a little bit of a plug for them, because I think this is really funny. They have a special... I would normally hate talking about pre-order bonuses, because I fucking hate them.
Okay.
I don't like the idea that you can't get all the content in one place.
Like
Like,
You usually have to wait and then they'll come to you.
I know, but like, if I'm gonna buy a game on release date, I want to have all of that game. Like, I generally don't like DLC. We can get to a whole thing about DLC packs and all that kind of stuff, and microtransactions and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
But pre-order bonuses kind of bug me, and for that reason, I never fucking use them. Even if I get them, I just fucking trash them because they're either one of two things: they're either A, cosmetic, which who cares, or they're B, they're a style of weapon or something in the game that makes the start of the game broken, so you can just like trip through it, and then after about 5 or 10 hours, the item's completely useless. So why the fuck did you give it to me?
Depending on the game, but depending on how much you care about the game, I think how much you care about the pre-order bonus.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like some cosmetics, like, oh, that's cool. Or,
But
like,
they've done something really cool with this one.
which is?
So they are doing, for pre-order game, you get access to a new playable mode in Hitman, current Hitman.
So if you pre-order now, it unlocks now?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. They give you a code for a new thing. I don't know if it's live now, but it will be soon. But anyway, it's called the Sniper Assassin.
Oh, yeah, Sniper Assassin, yeah.
Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a Battle Royale mode.
Is it?
Yes. I don't know the specifics of it, but they've also said that it's a competition. And the last 3 Hitmen standing will be added into the Hitman 2 DLC. So you yourself could be in Hitman.
To be hitted on?
Yeah, I don't know. to be a hit, I don't know. But that was the cool thing about what they did with Hitman Season 1 was they put goofy shit in there. Like Gary Busey was a target at one point. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And I think that's awesome. That's a cool way to get your fans involved. About like, look, you played the other game. That's awesome. If you're super keen for this one, play this new mode that we're making on our old game. I hope you have fun with that, and hopefully it'll tide you over before the new one comes out. Oh, by the way, if you do really well at it, we'll put you in the game.
Yeah.
That's a fucking cool thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not some bullshit. I mean, they do have a collector's edition that's like a fucking gun carry case, which is pretty cool.
That's cool prop. Like,
Yeah.
when collector's editions are good, they're great.
It's like an aluminium alloy too, so it's not like and it's got like a duck in a Hitman suit, like a rubber duck in a Hitman suit. It's all stuff in there. It's like, oh yeah, this is all right. This is all right. They do okay. But yeah, like that Hitman stuff was pretty cool.
Actually, the biggest surprise is that it's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, it is.
They must have just scrambled together their shit. Like, it was at the start. No, it was April when Square dropped them.
Yeah, I will bet they've been working on the game since the first one, and that they just the publishing deal probably just came through. Is probably what happened, because they probably had all the assets and all the things, and the thing with the Square Enix thing was they were able to buy all of themselves back. So they pretty much
the Kane and Lynch IP. I don't know why Square wanted to keep
sure?
that. Yeah, they couldn't keep Kane and Lynch. That was it.
Well, who fucking cares?
I know, but that's a weird thing. Like, why does Square want that? Just
to bury it so no one else can play it. The only reason you would keep an IP like that is to make sure no one ever uses it again.
But like,
because like, why would you ever touch it again?
But why have it if you don't want to use it?
Because it's poison. Like,
if you're not going to make money off it.
Like, the only thing I can think of is that this is a benevolent move from Square Enix, of like taking the radioactive thing and being like, no, we did this. We're gonna put it in the vault. No one will ever touch this ever again.
Oh, Kane and Lynch aren't bad games. They're weird games. They're of their time, but they don't.
I just don't think that there's any. I don't think there's any value in Kane and Lynch at this point. No, so
wait 20 years and then you can just
like
God of War.
Like I don't think there's any value here. I don't know if there ever will be, because it's not like one of those games where people go, "Oh, remember Kane and Lynch?" Like, no.
Yeah.
It's just not one of those.
It's just a sticking point in my brain. It's the only thing they didn't get out of that deal is that their second IP.
The thing I can think of is that like the deal might have gone something along the lines of, they're figuring out the IPs, and Square Enix is like, well, you want to buy yourself out. Like, do you want Kane and Lynch? It's worth nothing to us. To which IO responds, well, we don't want it because it's worth nothing to us. Like, if it's worth 0 to both of them, then it just stays where it is, because who fucking cares?
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can think of.
I hope for IO they do make a new IP soon. Because as much as great the Hitman games are, it'd be cool to diversify their portfolio.
They'll need to expand, and hopefully this does well enough that they can do that. Because I think that the team at the moment would all be working on this. But it would be nice if they could expand their portfolio. I think they managed to pick up Freedom Fighters in that split. I think.
What's Freedom Fighters?
It's what became Kane and Lynch.
Okay.
I think. Kane and Lynch is like a spin-off of that franchise.
That's
It's really
weird.
good, and for about, I think, about 15 years, everyone thought EA owned the license for it. And then it came to light sometime recently. I think it was when the buyout happened, like, from IO, that it suddenly came to light, like, oh, EA hasn't had that license. Squeenix had it for some reason, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's one of those IPs that, because video games hit their... Because video games go up and down so many times, and there are so many companies that shutter and close and all that kind of stuff, it was one of those ones that ended up, like...
Lost in the ether.
Yeah, like, it never got digitized or something like that, so the actual contracts ended up, like, in a bin somewhere, or like taken by a lawyer and just ended up somewhere.
Yeah.
And so by the time everyone figured out where the fuck it was like, why does this company have it? I don't know, because they bought this company that bought that company that turned into this company, and that's why they own it somehow. There are a few of those out there, like, it's like vapor contracts.
I feel like that's how most of Midway games are.
Yes, yeah, at this point it's hard to track where Midway's stuff is.
Midway, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. You always said that wrong.
No, you're right. Yeah. But yeah, like, it was... Yeah, it's hard to track where any of this... I think someone found, like, a bunch of different Midway IPs, like, where they currently are, and they're with some lawyer in, like, the middle of America.
Yeah.
And he just has them because of some holding company that he owns that, like, bought them off of... And it's just... They're just sitting there. Nothing to do with them. Can't do anything with them.
That sucks.
Yeah, video games are weird, man. At some point, it gets really weird. Should we move on? Do you want to move on to the Xbox, or do you want to move on to the...
I don't think we need to talk about the Xbox One unless you are real passionate about it.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll save it. Okay, we'll put a pin in this. One day we're going to do a post-mortem on the Kinect.
Well, we can do that anytime. It's very post-dead.
Yes, I know, but like we're going to do one. Like we'll do it sometime down the track when news is a bit when the news is a bit scarce. Like maybe mid-August when there's like fuck all to do.
But Madden.
Oh yay! I'm so psyched for Madden.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this fucking farcical... oh, man.
Here in Australia, we currently have a rollout happening for our internet. There's meant to be an upgrade. It's like Google Fibre, but horribly horrible.
Let's okay.
It's NBN Co, which is the National Broadband Network. It has been a shit show. It was meant to be... The idea was that we were meant to have like really nice fibre to our houses. Fibre connection, which was a lot of speed. We had a change in government, that all got fucked up. And now we have a botched version of it, to put it simply. Now, because of this like change in government, there's also been a new... It's just like... It's not being installed properly, so there's been all these problems along the way. It's like... It's just the worst government thing we've seen, except for...
Yeah. It's someone bought a car, and then they sold that car to another person. And then that person took the tyres off and put on wooden tyres, and then started complaining to the person they bought it off, why doesn't this car work properly? It's like, because you fucked it up when you got it.
And then they got their son to try and repair it.
Uh-huh.
And then child. That's a good way of putting it. Now, so the speeds aren't where they should be. The NBN Co, because it's its own subsidiary, president? CEO? It's the CEO. Mm-hmm. Came out and said... Gamers are throttling NBN speed, and we're thinking of cutting back their speeds just to allow everyone else. Now, this annoyed me when I saw it. The first place I saw with a fact check was ABC News on Facebook. I'm not sure if they're the source, but because I've seen it elsewhere from then on. But
I guarantee you there are a billion different people checking that thing. Like you could find that information anywhere.
Yeah,
because it's a simple cursory search on like bandwidth. It's not that difficult.
So. Gaming, the most bandwidth comes from CSGO, which I find hilarious.
Of course it does.
But
it does.
Fortnite, Dota doesn't even really compare to that. And then they don't even compare in the slightest to Stan, Netflix, even in SD, standard definition. You go to
the 4K versions, and
the 4K is ridiculous, but even the HD, which is the most used,
literally gigabits of data, insane amounts of data coming through,
and that's what's throttling it. And there are a lot more people that use the streaming services than play multiplayer games. I would assume
the idea that video games are the thing that actually that sucks down internet quickest has been a fallacy for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It can, Like,
When you have bad net code.
yeah, if you get bad net, but like there are moments where things can go a little bit haywire with video games, and that's mostly because of our bad internet connection. Case in point, a few years ago when the Destiny beta came out, I had a really shit internet connection with a low data cap. So, yeah, it was like 100 gigs and really shitty internet speeds. It was with Telstra. Thanks, guys. So I had this really shitty internet situation. But the Destiny beta came out, and it's a 15 gigabyte download. So I started that download, and it ate all of my internet.
Yeah.
That's because the internet's so shitty that it has to disconnect, reconnect, and that's using more data than just keeping the constant connection. The thing that always chews your data is the reconnection part. It's the packets. It's the, oh god, I gotta get that thing back. That's what chews through your data. And if you have a solid, good internet connection that doesn't drop out all the time, your data usage drops. Because you're not having to reconnect it and disconnect it and reconnect it and disconnect it to get it to work.
You need an Ethernet cable back then.
Yeah, well, even on Wi-Fi. Like, I have my entire house, I have an NBN setup, I have a proper NBN, like, from the original plan of this whole thing. I have fibre to the house connection.
Cool. Well done.
It's great.
Don't ever move.
No, not a chance. It's great. I have a terabyte? No, I have 600 gigs. I had a terabyte at my old place. I have 600 gigs of download. It's perfect. It's fine. I've never gone over. Barely even got close. Only time we got close was when Nathaniel was living with us.
Yeah.
It's literally it. And that makes sense because instead of having 2 people using the internet, you've got a third.
Yeah.
And when 2 of them are pretty decent gamers and doing a lot of streaming and downloading, of course it's gonna double it's double my usage.
Yeah.
And when you've got a bit there, doubling one of us is gonna obviously get us close. But we've never actually hit the data cap ever. For cost reasons, I have the middle of the range package, so I have 50 megabits instead of 100.
I'd kill for 50.
Yeah, but the thing is, because of where the router is in the house, and this is a design flaw of the house, not of the NBN, but where the router is in the house, the Wi-Fi signal gets a little bit weaker to where we are most of the time. So it's at the furthest end of the house from the lounge room and all that kind of stuff. So I tend to get more of a speed around about 20 to 30.
Which isn't.
It's not bad, but it could be better. But that's mostly the Wi-Fi thing. Like, honestly, I need a new router because the router I have is ADSL, not NBN ready.
Okay.
It works just fine, but I could use a better one.
Yeah.
I don't have issues with my internet. It runs perfectly. I even got a friggin'... we got a rebate on our internet because it went out for a while. And my internet company was like, oh yeah, sorry about that. And they gave us a credit. Like, it's not that difficult to do internet, but Australia's been doing it for fucking ever in just the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating that people who play video games, I'm not going to say gamers, because that sometimes has negative connotations. It's not just the neckbeards who sit in their mother's basements. There are people out there that just genuinely, that just like video games, like playing them.
Even the casual people.
Yeah.
Like, you can't... even a casual video game player, which is just you go home and play it at night on like after your 9 to 5. You do that. You want to download a game, like you see, Wolfenstein 2, $30 at the moment. That'd be cool to download. Oh, it's 30 gigs. Oh, I'm not on NBN. Or even if you are on NBN, some places it doesn't work well yet.
That's been the biggest farce, is the NBN in some places getting connected and then 200,000 people losing their internet connection completely.
Yep.
Zero connection. Welcome to the NBN. Like, it's just a fucking farce.
Yeah. And it sucks when, like, we could do this, and it's not expensive. We have a government that's like, this is a very expensive thing. No, you just want to keep as many pennies as possible while promising on someone else's promise, delivering on someone else's promise. And it just, we won't get too many into our politics. It's like super involved, and we have, I don't like. I was going to say Abbott, but no. But he fucked up.
Politics is bad. Like, the politics in Australia sucks right now, and we don't want to get too much into that because this isn't a political podcast. But I think we need to think about why it is that every time something comes... Why is it...
Good, continue. I'm liking this point.
Every time the internet is brought up, I've noticed the trend. The internet is brought up, and people who play video games, gamers in general, are the ones who are attacked for the reasons it's slow and bad and all that kind of stuff. I think we need to look at the fact that every time we bring up the internet in a positive light, like when the NBN was first being decided to roll out, when this first idea was putting out, why were we so silent? We should have been banging on the door of the government saying, this is great, instead of saying this is bad when it fucks up.
Yeah.
No one supported it enough to get it across the line, to make everyone realize that, like, because there are certain things that happen that are such a good idea that so many people love, that both sides of the politics are like, well, of course we're going to fucking do that because it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
This wasn't. This was one of those things where there were actually people who were angry about it. And it pisses me off. And the other thing about the cost is that, like, it will cost money, but it will save us so much.
Yeah.
Because we'll never have to do it again.
Yeah, if that's the thing, if they delivered on the original promise of fibre to every house, you would never, like, for another probably 50 years, have to upgrade again. And, like, that would have been so good. Instead of, like, we're going to, like, the Gold Coast is already thinking of doing gigabit connection just in the Gold Coast area, and that's their own, and, like, they could have the power to do that. That's their own
It's
thing.
because we're getting to
But, like, then we're going to have, like, state-based stuff, or, like, council-based stuff, where it's just, like, fixing their own shit. Like, we've had reports to, like, 5G's coming probably by 2020. It's going to be a lot more reliable, a lot more faster, and the only thing in that, it'll be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, because
it's 5G.
Yeah.
But the analytics are like, that's what people are going to use anyway. People are going to fork out the money just to have a good internet connection.
By that point, like, the whole point of the NBN was that we were going to future-proof it.
Yeah.
It was going to be like, cool, it's a fibre connection. We don't have to dig up the line anymore to install new speeds.
Yeah.
We just have to turn a switch, and suddenly, because it's fibre can travel. The fibre line can send data at the speed of light. We just don't have the other end of it to make it work yet.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, fiber optics, the way it works is that it is all transmitting data down the cable at the speed of light. The bottleneck is always going to be our version of, like, servers.
Yeah.
Our servers, our computers, those kind of things. Nothing at
The senders and the receivers don't have the processing power to actually do light speed yet.
But every time we get better on those, it increases the speed. It's why we have old women in Sweden with 4 gigabit connections, because they've got the technology to be able to upgrade the other ends, and they don't have to go up and dig the line up every time. We just leave the line in the ground, a dude goes over to the server, flicks a switch, and all of a sudden, guess what? 200 megs, 300 megs, 400 megs. And it would be great, but it just frustrates me that whenever the internet is talked about, the gamers are the first ones attacked.
Yeah.
Every single time. Even though the facts clearly state that the people using the internet and fucking it up. And, okay, actually, let's be more specific about this problem. Because it's specifically about the fixed wireless connections. Now, do you know anything about those?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay, cool.
I know the term fixed wireless.
Okay, so I worked for Telstra for a year while the whole NBN clusterfuck was happening. I literally worked for Telstra for 6 months while the previous government was in, and then the back 6 months were for the new government. Yep. So it was like, I bridged that gap, and it was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So, here's the issue with a fibre connection. The fibre line can't be bent. Because it's a fibre optic glass, if it's bent in any way, when the data is sent across it, it bounces back and sends it away. So the best you can do is you have to curve it gently so that the light can travel through it. What that means is that there are some places, like Roma, for example, where they're so far out that trying to get a fibre connection from the exchange to every house out there is just not physically possible. Not in this day and age. Because you'd be digging up just kilometres upon kilometres of areas, and you'd be trying to get through streams and creeks and all this kind of stuff, and you can't bend it. You've got to get as straight a line with, like, a slight curve if you can, but as straight a line as possible to that house. And doing it from the exchange to every single house in, like, a widespread area like Roma, just not possible. So, what was invented is this really smart solution to it. Now, what it does is it doesn't give you the speeds that everything else does, but it gives you the constant connection, and there's a couple other flaws in it. Essentially, they take an exchange, and they drop a fibre line to a big fuck-off tower. Similar to, like, a cellular tower.
Yeah.
And they place it in a strategic point so that it is visible, like, actually line-of-sight visible to every house around the area. Then what happens is they take a fibre connection, and they tether it to a satellite. They stick the satellite on your house, and they put the fiber directly into your home. What they do is they take one satellite from that big tower, direct it line of sight to your satellite on your house.
You mean a receiver?
Yeah.
Satellite? Yeah.
Yeah, like a receiving... satellite's the only word I can think of for it, but it's basically a dish.
Yeah.
So
they have a name. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what
Satellites are things that fly.
Yeah. But it's like it's the kind of dish that you would get for like satellite television or whatever, like cable.
Yeah.
But they put the dish on your house and one on the fixed wireless tower, and you have one of those on the fixed wireless tower is yours, no one else's. And basically, it's an over-the-air Wi-Fi connection between those two. So as long as they can see each other, as long as they have line of sight, you get your internet via that rather than through the fiber in the ground.
So what it sounds like is basically a wireless version of 30s telephones.
Yeah.
It's just you have your own port. Here you go. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. You get your own port. So there are a couple of flaws. One, because it's over the air and we still haven't developed quite the technology for
weather.
Yeah, one, weather. If the satellites are in a big gust of wind, they disalign, someone has to go up there and realign them.
Oh, yike, okay.
Either by moving yours on the house or someone's going to move it up there. So it can be frustrating, but the whole point was that part of this whole NBN deal would be like, there'll be someone for that. Like, we'll hire people to do that. The second thing is the speeds are at the point when I was working there, the highest you could get was 25 meg. That's still twice as fast as what ADSL2 does.
That's 2.5 faster than what I've got at the moment.
So that's
I could use that speed to stream to you guys through.
Exactly.
And
that's the one that they're saying is there's congestion on it. Now, because I'm not working for Telstra anymore, I'm not sure what has changed on that particular one, because essentially the original idea was that every urban area would get a fixed fiber to the home connection, and everywhere where you couldn't get fiber to the home, you get fixed wireless. That way, every single Australian is covered.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what's happening in those fixed wireless areas, but apparently there's a lot of congestion problems. And that's the whole point of fixed wireless, is there wouldn't be congestion problems because you get your own line. So I don't know what the problem is. So I'd have to do more research to see why it is happening.
All we've seen is the graph, because we just look at pictures, because they're pretty.
The other thing is that, they've been so fucking incredulous about details about this goddamn thing. Like, the NBN Co. has been so bad at being like, oh yeah, no, we're fine, we're doing fine. And then you look at the data, and it's like, you've blown it out to 4 times the budget of the original plan. This was supposed to be cheaper. It's 4 times as much. What the fuck is going on? And the idea that a video game is going to cause that kind of congestion is just insane. Because the upshot is, and this is kind of the sucky part as well, is that you don't need a fast internet connection to play video games.
To play? No.
You need them to download, but you don't need it to play.
You don't even need it to download. You just need A1 and patience. That's how I've existed for the last ages. But even with that, you don't need you play. I've played online. It's when you want to do anything else in the house. You need and some games are good. Like Fortnite, I can basically get a connection no matter what I'm doing. Whereas other more intensive games, can't think of any at the moment, but more intensive games you need a very specific speed, and an up speed as well.
There are other types of games as well that are it also depends on the server speed of the games and stuff like that. And honestly, for most people with an NBN connection, one that's working, that's not fucking up, no problems whatsoever.
No, NBN, everything's fine there.
Me and my 2 best friends, we lived in a scenario for once where I had NBN, one of my friends had NBN, the other friend did not. And every time we tried to play games online, the friend who did not, he was the one who dropped out. Every
was he on
fucking
ADSL
time.
2?
He's on ADSL 1.
Okay, yeah, no.
So... And he had to get into a dispute with his provider because they promised him speeds they couldn't deliver. So they broke the contract at some point. I think when they got to a point where they were allowed to break the contract, because they moved out after a year of being in that house and the contract was 2 years, so they broke the contract and they were allowed to, because the ACCC was like, you can't do this. You can't promise them a speed and not deliver. So they were able to break that. Now they're in NBN, so it's going to be fine.
Nice.
Both those friends moved in together. So having a bad internet connection can be bad for video games. That being said, he wasn't able to play online with us, but he was still able to function pretty well. And I think that's the dilemma we face here, is that we need to... One, gamers need to start coming together on this shit. Like, just being apathetic on it is not working anymore. We need people to stand up and be like, okay, we need, people in video games to realise that the reason your thing is shitty and not working is not because of the game. Not entirely anymore.
And I think that's what the news has been doing. Like, they've been putting out this data saying, look, it's all Stan and Netflix. Why can't I remember Netflix? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the streaming services that are doing everything. Yeah, and like, so the mainstream news is doing that. Mm-hmm. But like, I see your point that like, if we would actually like corral and like just even have like a federal gaming association or something
like that, just something like it seems boring and dumb to do it in this kind of thing, but like
gaming is
it's the kind of thing that it's the reason it took us so long to get an R18 rating. It's the reason that we still get games banned in Australia because they don't meet rating standards. It's these things that it's because we don't stand up and actually make our voices heard on these matters is why it always takes so long. It's why Australia feels like it's always 20 years behind in gaming. Because I can play all the latest stuff, but everything I have is still fucking useless.
Yeah. Like, we've been wanting to do streaming for ages. It's because all of our internet doesn't work. Like, yeah. we have the PlayStation. We have everything here. Mm-hmm. We have Twitch. We have everything. It still doesn't work. Like, whereas anyone else really can
there are hundreds of YouTubers in the UK and America who do everything out of their own home.
They
don't have a studio. We don't have that ability because our internet is also very expensive over here, and that fucking sucks. But for the most part, I feel like we should. There is two political parties called the Australian Net Party and the Australian Pirate Party.
I voted for the Pirate Party, like, pretty highly. Because we have a list where we can go preferences. Yeah. I did all of them. I did Greens, Labour, like my actual proper vote, and then I'm like all the other stuff, and then federal down the bottom.
Yeah. And they are both two parties. If you are thinking, the problem with them is that a lot of them don't have representatives across the country. Yeah. I think the Net Party only has representatives in Tasmania, so we don't think we even get to vote for them here, because they get started there and it takes time. But they're the kind of parties that you should be looking into if you are looking for internet freedom. We need it for video games. We need it 100%. It is a fucking nightmare out there right now. But like you said, I think it's great that people were actually able to pull up those facts and those graphs and be like, look, it's not that. My fear on this one is that, as this government would want to do, instead of looking at that data and going, we shouldn't attack the gamers, they're not the problem, we should maybe just fix our shit, they are instead going to look at that and go, Netflix is a real problem, we need to tax it. Because it's taking so much data. And that is my fear, because that is the government we have. Instead of fixing the problem, they will find a way to mitigate it on their end. So you stop using Netflix because it's going to cost you extra.
I hate how right you are.
Mm-hmm. And this is the point in the podcast where I wish that we had a bigger reach than just 30 people.
Yeah. But I want to go back to a point you say about how gamers always get attacked. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the internet, we get attacked constantly from many different things, and we can't. A game where you can kill kids. Yeah. Like, no, Steam being weird, and that's been a whole different issue, which I could have wrote now, but I forgot to actually do.
Steam. Yeah, fucking.
But
Steam is its own weird entity.
Yeah. But one, and how we don't get any good accolades for gaming. One of the best quotes I've ever heard that stuck with me for ages is that there's two things that always push technology and define technology. It's gaming and porn.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever
100%.
porn comes to, that's what wins. Like porn came to DVD, that's what won. Porn came to
VHS.
I don't think there are Blu-rays. Yeah, VHS is the big one. Mm-hmm. I think we ever got Blu-ray porns.
Even with gaming,
gaming pushes the internet for the Dreamcast to start putting internet into its box to say, hey, you can have a connection. Well, that didn't work. It led to PlayStation and Xbox doing it. Xbox coming out that year later, it made it work. Like it's internal, isn't it? The Xbox original.
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't need an adapter like
yes.
PS2.
The PS2 you needed an adapter because they were just a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and that made like, oh, gaming comes in the internet, and like gaming and internet has always been intertwined.
Yeah,
like
video games push the internet to be faster, to be bigger, to be able to take more robust connections. And if it wasn't for games pushing it all the time, we'd still be stuck with fucking dial-up.
Yeah, like exactly. And like with gaming pushing it forward, and porn, because people stream porn, it allows...
That was what I was going to say. The Blu-ray thing, not so much, but the thing the porn industry did do was go to streaming, which is where everything went after Blu-rays.
Yeah, and that allows for like things like Skype. And FaceTime and Discord to actually like, oh, we can use this bandwidth to actually like have good quality.
And it opens the window for things like YouTube.
Yeah.
And which YouTube and gaming have then been tied, because then that opens the door to things like Twitch. And like it continues to evolve, not just the industry in terms of video games, but also in terms of like the internet and the world at large.
And like that was the original pitch for the NBN, was that it wasn't really gaming, but it's like, hey, we can have very stable and really fast internet that allow you to have almost like will have almost real life quality. Like you can stream 1080p. That was the big thing back then. But the only thing that would be different is that your camera, like that would the
that would be the
only
bottom,
defining factor.
Yeah, the
but
bottleneck.
other than that, like it was meant to be like you could have constant calls with like everyone. Like you could basically like that Kingsman thing where everyone's sitting on a couch. And we were all Skyping. And like that was the thing, and it was all going to be relied. No one was like, oh, did you check your internet speed? Oh, you may want to turn it off and on your router. Like it was just meant to be seamless, like what the internet was born. And maybe you always have issues. There's always issues, but like there's more promise to that, and like gaming pushes that forward.
One of the big things, one of the big problems with why we have all these problems, like one of the things that is baffling, just as a human being, is just that. One of the plus sides to having this NBN that we were supposed to get was that we were going to have the ability to have... One of the big issues with Australia is how widespread it is, and how big the country is, and how many people live in rural areas, and how we don't have doctors for those people. And one of the things the NBN was going to be able to provide is this sort of like ability to have a GP that is a human being that you can see and talk to via an internet connection.
I do remember that as well.
They can have they can diagnose you and do all that kind of stuff in real time via the internet, and that's not possible with what we're getting.
No.
And that is really bad. Like when you I think the thing I kind of want gamers to do is think about it on a different level. Because you're at the moment, what happened when this thing came out, I think this is what bugs me about it a little bit, is that this stuff comes out, the CEO of the thingy, being like, no, gamers are using all the bandwidth. And instead of biting back and going like, you fucking moron, what the fuck? Instead of us actually being...
It's victim blaming.
Yeah.
Like, it is, in every sense. It's like, oh, people using the internet are making the internet bad? No, you're the ones who didn't make a good service. Like, it's like, no, victim blaming is a correct term, but it's also like, a restaurant providing food, and then you getting food poisoning, or just it's eating too much food. It's like, oh, we can't, like, provide a normal restaurant because, but, like, that's your job. It's like when KFC runs out of chicken.
Yeah.
It blames you.
Yeah.
Like, no,
like I came here to... But the thing I was going to say was that...
I hope that made sense.
Yeah. The thing that I'm talking is that, like, that thing comes out, we see that, like, and here's the issue.
The big issue.
The data comes out, we see the difference between the video games and video streaming services. Yeah. And instead of gamers going on the offensive against the politics that's been happening, everyone was like, no, fuck off, it's the streamers, look at the data. That should not have been the response. We need to start thinking about not just ourselves, because, like we've been saying, the NBN was never designed for video gamers. It's video games being awesome is a side effect of having good internet.
Yeah.
Because that's what pushes and drives it.
And like when
we will
it
get
was
better
pitched, gaming wasn't it was big, but like I feel now it's so much bigger.
It's different. It's a different landscape. Now. Yes, it's a very different landscape now.
We have R18 now.
Yeah. Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, because what gamers did when this stuff came out was that they went on the defensive of like, don't blame us for your problems. I'm like,
when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, like what the fuck? Yeah.
Yes, true, 100%. You're right, but the thing that we should have said was, fuck you. You never promised us high-speed video games. You promised us the ability to Skype call with anyone across the country, the ability to have a stable internet connection, the ability to have doctors in places we don't have doctors right now, to save this country from bullshit. Video games shouldn't be your priority. Why the fuck are you talking about it? Because the government should not be talking about video games when they're talking about the internet. That is a totally different... Like, that the video game thing is a side effect of the internet being good. The government should be focused on the internet getting better for the betterment of our society. Fuck video games, and gamers came to the defense of video games rather than going on the offense of what they were trying to do. Because what they were trying to do, and what they kind of have done successfully, is they have distracted us from the problem, which is they fucked up. They have
distracted us from the problem.
And also what they've done.
Like, many people, when I talk to NBN, not many people remember the original vision. Like, I forgot about the doctor thing, but I remember like the Skype call stuff, which I think does...
I remember it very vividly.
I was super excited. I'm like, this is going to be... And I was talking about it in Roma. Like, and then, but like, as it was like... This is basically all I wanted. And like, I was telling everyone, like, this is going to be the best thing ever. And when I got it in Ipswich, it was... it didn't have a phone line before, so when I got it, I think it was fibre to the house, or very, very close to that. It was awesome. I didn't have any speed upgrades, but it worked. I could do anything. It was great. I wasn't being a doctor and saying, hey, Mum, you need to not put your heart on fire. Or something like that.
Yeah.
But, that's a weird imagery. But, yeah, so for me, to have, like, being early adopter of it, now, I don't have NBN anymore, but, and then for it to just fail across the country, I'm like, damn.
We were so close. It was so
being
close.
Defeated. Like, it was...
The rollout was happening. It was happening slower than we wanted it to, but it was happening.
Patient. Like, things happen.
Yeah.
And, like, for a lot of that was me for, like, a lot of time. Things happen. But too many things happen. And, like, this
the original plan was that it started in 2009. The rollout was going to finish in 2016. That was the original plan. It was going to take 7 years. It's a lot. It's a big country. You got a lot of shit to do. It was going to take that long, and it was going along nicely. Now, the date got pushed out to 2019.
It's fine. Games get delayed
because there's a lot of stuff to do, and there were problems. There were definitely logistical problems that the previous government did not foresee and did not work out well.
And that's fine.
Okay, fair enough. The solution is not to hack it, burn and slash and kill it.
Yeah.
Because then what they ended up doing was saying, like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to deliver it by 2016, the original date, and we're going to do it better. And then it was shitter, and now it's going to be finished in 2019 anyway. So, like,
I don't even think that's going to happen.
We have had net gain 0 and a net loss on the internet. And so I just think, like, if anyone outside of our own friends and family who fucking listen to this show ever hears this, and you're a video game fan, and you want video games to get better in Australia, don't harp on the video game thing.
Harp on the government.
Harp on the internet problem, because it was never intended to be for us. We benefit from this technology giving other people things they want to do. Giving doctors the ability to go into towns they can't. Giving people the ability to create new businesses and new enterprises. Giving people the ability to innovate with the internet. Giving the people just the ability to walk home, like sit home on a couch with their family and watch a fucking movie. That is all stuff that this is designed for. People being able to contact friends and family that they can't visit every day because they live so far away. The ability for a mum to call her daughter who's moved to America. That kind of stuff is all what we want from this. The fact I get to play Fortnite in 4K with my mates on the internet is totally a side effect. If all that stuff happens and I don't get to play my video games, fine. I've got no problem with that. We live in luckily we live in a world where, because of all these awesome things, I get the benefit of my entertainment. But at the end of the day, if my online video games disappeared tomorrow, I would be fine. video games are a luxury by their very nature.
Yeah.
We need to stop treating them like rights or entitlements. You're lucky you got a video game. Play the ones you've got. It's awesome. But for the love of God, don't complain to the government that your video game isn't working, because that doesn't fucking help anyone. Rant over. I don't ever want to talk about politics again on this show. Like, fuck. The only time we're ever going to talk about it again is when the NBN is fixed and works.
Which will be never.
2078, I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be called the NNBN for Neo NBN.
Yeah. We've all got the games in our foreheads.
Yeah.
I put the disc directly into my brain slot.
It won't be a disc. You get it off the NNBN.
No, because I want that, like, retro future.
We're not going to have
I want the retro future. I want to put, like, the vinyl record in my chest and a floppy disk in my neck.
You know, they're the DC villain that's like that?
Really?
Prometheus. Designed by Grant Morrison. He's literally like, oh, I get my power by putting CDs into me. And I can fly now. I can beat the Justice League.
That's so cool.
It's such an 90s thing. They brought him to Arrow, and he's just basically just a really good Arrow guy. Like,
good. Which
which is good because, like, but yeah, no. So you want to be Grant Morrison Prometheus?
Yes. I want all the upgrades to be old floppy disks and stuff like that. Anyway, how are we doing on time?
We're over an hour.
Okay, cool.
We're not doing terribly, but yeah.
Yeah, no. We can call it there. Like we said, it's a bit of a slow week because we are just in the calm before the storm.
But like, it's not necessarily slowly. There's a lot of things happening, but they're all like
it's nothing to talk about because it's all just this thing got a release date. Cool. This thing got a release date. Cool. This thing was announced. Cool. Like it's nothing really to dig in. Whereas the press conferences themselves, not only are we going to have announcements and release dates to talk about, but also some funny moments and different weird things we can actually dig in and talk about.
Who won the conferences?
Oh god,
Microsoft. I have a good feeling about Microsoft, and I also have a bad one. I have two feelings.
I have no feelings towards Microsoft because I thought last year the winner of the E3 was Nintendo. Last year Nintendo just knocked it out of the park. Everyone else was fine.
Yeah.
I hope they do it again this year. I hope Nintendo wins. You can't win E3 though, that's the thing. Because
conversations I've heard about it is that like E3, you win it, and what that does is you like the marketing team feels bolstered by it, and like able to take more chances in the marketing, like have different marketing things, and like that feeds into the company that win. Also,
but here's the thing:
gamers win always.
Gamers win always because E3 is fun. Like, but the thing is with E3 in terms of like who wins, I don't think I've ever seen Sony win an E3.
E3 2013. Like that's the year where they're like, here's how you share a game. PlayStation 4 is $100 cheaper. What's the other thing? Final Fantasy Versus 13 is now Final Fantasy 15. Kingdom Hearts 3, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Okay, off the back of that E3 press conference, how was 2013/2014?
Like going into 14, do you mean?
Yeah, like so because E3 takes place in June. Yeah. So post E3 into the back end of 2013 and into the beginning of 2014, what games released?
Infamous, Second Son.
Ooh, I don't. It's fine. It's fine.
Infamous.
It's fine.
Not as good as the old games, but yeah.
The PS4 launched.
Yeah,
which is fine.
It destroyed Microsoft from the get-go.
Yeah, but what did we get? Because that's what Sony gets. What do we get? Because here's my thing. Sony didn't win the last 3 years of press conferences. I won.
Yeah.
Because I got Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted 4, God of War, all these fucking incredible games, Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, Ratchet and Clank. When Sony does fine, that's when they're doing their best work. So winning the E3 press conference to me is actually kind of a detriment because I think the year that I most went, man, that company won was the year Xbox announced backwards compatibility, and then the rest of that year they were on fire.
Yeah.
Like, not in the good way, in the bad way. Because they were just fucking, everything was broken, everything was not working, they cancelled like half the games they announced on that fucking press conference. Like, winning it doesn't mean that you actually win, it just means that everyone feels good around that time.
That's how I define winning for it. Like it's the short term. You won at the conference. Winning in the long term, like that's such a different conversation.
Yeah, because I guess I just don't always get caught up in the hype. Like I enjoy E3, but I always think of it about like the long term stuff because like I don't want to be sold a bill of goods and then 2 months later be like, oh fuck. Which is what happened constantly with the Xbox over the last few years, is being sold something and being like, this is going to be the awesome year for Xbox, and then it not being anywhere near that. So, yeah, I don't care who wins E3. All I care is that is there enough games across the board for me to be interested.
That's the thing. I don't care who wins, but I still like having the
we'll have the discussion.
It's who won, who had the best presentation of games, who had the fastest flow. Like for me, it's been PlayStation because there's no one talking, and it's just what you want. It's unwrapping a Christmas present without having to say thank you, without having to say, oh, you shouldn't have. It's just oh my god. He's going back to the Sizzler bar. Sizzler bar coming to you.
Here's my last thing.
Dead. I forgot that.
Yeah, it is. It sucks, right?
Sorry.
Here's the thing about this year's E3 for me. Sony can do no wrong. They can, but
they can fuck up.
They can fuck up.
If they only show those 4 games, that's a fuck up.
They're not going to. They're going to show something else. Yeah. But at this point in time, I don't the Sony press conference. As far as I can tell, will be fine. I'll enjoy it. Or whatever. Nintendo, I'm always interested in because I think they do wacky and weird shit, and I love it when they do wacky and weird shit. Microsoft is the battle for me to not sell my Xbox.
Sell your Xbox.
I have had that thing since 2014, and I have played a total of 3 games on it.
Did you play Cuphead?
No.
Why?
Because I couldn't be fucked. I'm not a platformer guy.
Okay.
Not a 2D platformer. And when I wanted to play that game, and I was going to, but also it's a digital download, so if I don't like it, I can't return it.
Okay, you're that kind of person.
Well, yeah, man, I'm not going to keep it if I don't want it.
No, fair enough. That's the thing. I only buy games I know I'm going to like.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I couldn't tell whether I was going to like it. But the other thing is I heard it was super difficult. I'm not a dude that's into ooh, this game is so hard. I'm like,
I am when it's an RPG, I found out. When it's Cuphead, no, I'm glad Nathaniel bought it and I just played it like that.
Yeah, I don't care about games like that. This is why I never gave a shit about Dark Souls.
I like Bloodborne a lot.
I played the games, but there was never me because when people are like, this game is so hard, only real gamers can finish it. I'm like, fuck off.
No, I don't like that mentality. I like the idea of overcoming challenges that are but quick story with Bloodborne, I fucked up. I level grinded this one area, which was completely optional. Mm-hmm. I level grinded. I destroyed the rest of that game.
Yeah,
fuck. Yeah. Not how you're supposed to play this game.
I played a total of 3 games on my console.
Which were
WWE 2K15, which was the busted broken one, because at that point when that game came out, I had
PS4. You didn't have a PS4?
No, I had a PS4. I bought everything for the PS4, and I felt bad for my Xbox. So I pre-ordered that game on Xbox and bought one for it. That game was broken and a piece of trash, so I never touched it again. The second game, GTA 5. A game which I could have got on PlayStation, but my other friends only had Xboxes at the time, so I got it on Xbox. We played together on that one. Third game, Overwatch. Again, out of pity for my Xbox, because it had been 2 years since I played GTA 5 on that thing.
I was hoping you were going to say Sunset Overdrive.
I did play Sunset Overdrive. That's 4. I did play Sunset Overdrive. That game is fine.
It seems fun.
I didn't love it. It was okay. It was a bit weird.
A bit.
Well, it's weird, but that weird is fine. It was the control scheme. It never... I felt like they wanted you to constantly be doing stuff, but the control scheme and the camera were fighting against that. Oh. Because I felt like the game the camera needed to be further back and further up. Because I needed to be able to see more. I couldn't see what was behind me, and because of that, I constantly got hit or didn't quite know what was going on, and so because of that, I lost my combos, and it just never worked. The game looks great and is fine, but for the last... So since Overwatch came out, which was 2016?
I think it was 15.
No, I think it's 16.
Could be.
Because 15... I always go... I try and remember years by Giant Bomb Game of the Year talks.
Yeah. I think it was 2016.
And 15 was the Fallout year, and they didn't come out the same year as Fallout. It was the year after.
Yeah. I'm just checking now, and it is 24th of May 2016. Yeah. My parents' anniversary.
So it was 2016, and it had been it'd been a year and a bit since I had played anything on my Xbox, and that was the last time I played my Xbox. I have not played a video game on my Xbox since May 2016.
No, I get why you'd want to sell it.
Yeah, so if they don't announce something that I can look forward to and fucking play awesome, on the Xbox,
Ori and the Blind Forest?
I have no reason to keep that fucking thing. Nah.
No?
Nah, again, platformer, not my cup of tea.
I'm just trying to think of, like, there are games that I'm interested in.
There are games that I'm interested in. Halo 6, maybe.
Did you not play Halo 5 on it?
No, not on mine.
Okay.
I played bits and pieces with other friends.
Okay.
I played Halos.
Wouldn't that have been better if Halo 2 was called Halos and it went from Alien to Aliens?
I played mostly I played Halo by going over to a mate's place and playing like the Master Chief Collection split screen.
That's pretty much how I played Halo my entire life.
So I didn't. I might have borrowed that Master Chief Collection to then try and play through the stories because I had never played a Halo past like 3, so I wanted to pick up and see what the deal was. The Halo 6, if Halo 6 gets announced and has a release date, I might go out and buy a copy of Master Chief Collection and 5 and just play through the campaigns because I'm not a multiplayer person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I play through the campaigns and then get rid of them and then maybe pick up 6. Honestly, I'm looking for 2 things. 1, something new that I didn't expect and didn't see coming. And 2, a Fable. A Fable would make me keep that Xbox. Because I never owned an Xbox when the original Fable came out, and a friend of mine did, and I loved the idea of that game. And I owned a 360 too late to be able to appreciate Fable 2 and 3.
Okay.
So by the time I got around to owning an Xbox 360, Fable 3 had been out for so long that when I actually tried to play it, I thought the game was garbage. Because it didn't feel right. It didn't feel good.
Fair enough.
So I would like them to do a new one so that I can actually experience that firsthand.
Fair enough.
And if they do that, I will keep that Xbox and I will happily let it sit there and collect dust and be my Netflix machine. But if they don't announce something like that, then I'm seriously looking at just like getting rid of that thing.
Why isn't the PS4 your Netflix machine?
Because the only thing that I've noticed the Xbox does better than my PlayStation is stream.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason, Netflix and the WWE Network and all the other streaming things that I do through my PlayStation doesn't quite work as well. But the Xbox,
how do you mean it doesn't quite work?
It doesn't. Well, it works, but it takes too long to connect, and oftentimes it's that fuzzy, grainy, like almost like buffering kind of quality where it like feels like it's lagging.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is about it, but like my PlayStations don't stream well, like full stop. But my Xbox, load up Netflix, hit a button, boom, in we go, no problems. Same with and specifically the WWE Network, which is the one I use personally the most on my Xbox. That app is optimized for the Xbox.
Oh,
the PlayStation 1 is a load of trash and doesn't work correctly.
Huh.
Well, not that it doesn't work correctly, it works fine, but the way it sorts everything out is weird.
Okay.
So, like, you can go in and you can watch, because they name their pay-per-views relatively the same thing every year at different months.
Yeah.
And you can go in and you can watch, like, you can go into an area and pick a pay-per-view. With the Xbox, you can sort by year. So you can go into the year and pick one, and then the next one is there, and the next one is there, and the next one is there. And you're like, okay, cool, I can watch like a full year's worth of pay-per-views in sequential order and watch the stories that progress and all that kind of stuff. With the PlayStation version, you pick a pay-per-view, and it gives you all the pay-per-views that are called that. So, like, something like Backlash. It'll have Backlash 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. Like, it'll go that way. So if you want to watch the next one, you've got to know what the next one was, and then back out, and then go into that one, and then find its year, instead of just hitting next.
Yeah.
So the Xbox One is optimized better, because it allows you to sort by year.
That's weird.
It's super weird. Yeah. And I don't know why the two are different, because you would think they'd be exactly the same, but no. That company's weird. But yeah, essentially the Xbox is a better streaming thing.
I have since 360, everyone's always been streaming, and like for me, works fine. With the buffering thing, it just takes a while to get to 1080p, and that's fine.
No, because the Xbox will launch 1080p straight out the bat.
You also have NBN, so
that's true, but that hasn't made the PlayStation any better.
Yeah,
because I've had this problem since I've had ADSL, and I don't know why. So yeah, I keep the Xbox as my Netflix machine. Here's actually what will. Rather than selling it, what will probably happen instead is that if they announce something crazy that's awesome, it will force me to buy an S. rather than...
Why do you want to buy an S if you don't even...
Because I have the old version of the Xbox, and it's sitting in the lounge room, and I want to be able to have... I want to be able to play my Xbox while Vanessa is watching Netflix.
Okay, fair enough.
So having a second Xbox would be what I want, because the Netflix machine can stay in the thingy. Yeah.
Okay.
So it would probably make me go buy an S, because they're like $270 now.
They are?
Yeah. Like a 500 gig is like $270. A terabyte's like $350. It's not even that much difference.
Kind of make me want to get one just for a 4K Blu-ray player.
And they come with like a fuck ton of games. Like this week, like the 1 terabyte's like $350, and it comes like 5 games, and not bad ones either. Like Rocket League, Assassin's Creed Origins, Minecraft is always in there.
In case you forgot, Microsoft owns Minecraft.
Thanks, Notch. Anyway, we'll wrap that up there because we're on a bit of a tangent. But if you did like the show, leave a like down the bottom. Please don't give it a dislike because we talk about politics. I hate when people do that.
I think we can all get on board, unless you just don't like the idea of politics.
Unless you don't like the idea of the... If you don't like the idea of the internet, of which you are using to listen to this. Anywho, if you do like it, leave a like and a comment down below with questions, if you do have them, or at amalgamshow@gmail.com. Remember to tune into the Amalgam Show later on this week and all of our E3 coverage as we roll through this wonderful week. That's it. Like, subscribe, share, and we will catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.